Welcome to MMO Grinder Sidequest, where I take a look at early open or closed betas, subscription trials, and simpler titles, giving you a quick first impression. Today I'll be looking at Lifeless, a world MMO/survival game set in the tired and true zombie apocalypse setting. It's currently in a very early build, and the footage I'll show you will be more than enough proof of that, believe me. If you're hoping for a Halloween episode of MMO Grinder this year, this is probably the closest we're gonna get, but hey, at least it's thematic. If only some of these other companies would bother getting their titles off the ground. Ah, yes, this game. Lifeless was a game that hit our radar as we were searching for potential Halloween episodes, as the well of games that we'd want to play had completely run dry, and we'd completely forgotten about this title until recently. Thanks to an oddly generous bundle found on a discount gaming site, and the fact we were able to get the game and a few others for a mere 49 cents, I figured we might as well give the game some kind of attention, as rough as a draft as this is. Lifeless uses the Unreal Engine, and as you can tell from the recording here, it's not exactly well optimized at the moment. But forgiving the alpha-level build issues, the exact aesthetic this game is going for is clear. It's post-apocalyptic modern day. Weapons are all something you'd find in real life, or jury-rigged, surprisingly effective zombie-fighting bundles of junk. Food items that litter the landscape all seem familiar enough, including cans that look distinctly like a popular energy drink that I'll just refer to as Rad Bell. The lighting works very well, especially the perfectly gradual transition from day to night, and the flashlight will become outright required once the sun goes down. The environment is desolate with ruined and abandoned buildings, including some downright disturbing features if you really wrap your head around what you're seeing, making specific note of a baby's crib that features broken bars and a very distinctly sized bloodstain in it. Unnerving stuff, and made more unnerving by the game's sound design. Weaponry sounds are all over the place, though. AK-47 fire sounds like kitten coughs, while Desert Eagle pistols might have taken some lessons from the howitzer. But it's the zombies' growls and snarls that are truly unearthly and terrifying, forgoing the standard moans for brains, and instead using this deep, guttural, animal-like snarl that puts you on edge when you're searching for supplies. Hard to describe, but unmistakable to hear. In fact, the zombies, while rather unremarkable in their look, end up becoming very intimidating for the sheer amount of damage that they can do. As you start out with a rather lackluster melee weapon to defend yourself, you'll find getting into the range of zombies is possibly a worse option than just trying to run away, as a single swipe can take away over a fifth of your health, and with the kinks still being worked out of the battle system, hitboxes on melee weapons, and even some ranged weapons, seem all over the place. Tighten this up though, and I'd welcome the idea of having to avoid enemies and really hunker down for a fight if you're caught off guard, rather than just having a group of enemies being cannon fodder to mow down with whatever you see fit. But it might prove off-putting to those who are just starting out. It does add a layer of actual fear when the zombies are around, as they can gnash and snarl at the walls, or sneak up on you pretty easily while you comb through drawers. There's little else to mention, as an early build will be subject to change. There's plenty here that's clearly unfinished, with buildings and sections of towns that just don't contain a single useful item. Certain layouts will get repeated a bit. There's a thirst and hunger meter that's easy enough to replenish with items you find, and each weapon and armor piece has a durability that must be repaired at the base. And you just know those meters are going to run out at the worst possible time. There's a level system that we're not entirely sure is working yet, unless it's tied to the skill system, which requires a rather hefty amount of scrap to obtain. For a game with a paid access alpha level build, Lifeless is a pretty appropriate moniker. The game has a faction PvP system that allows you to choose two sides, the Spartan Phalanx and the Nova Guard. Our choice of Nova Guard was made infinitely easier when we read the faction descriptions. In fact, that seems to be the case for many, as most every player we saw while logged in was in the Nova Guard, with the exception of one Spartan who seemed to just be uncertain of how anything in the game worked. I guess if you want faction balance, making one faction into a group of militaristic religious zealots might not fit most player ideals. Death is handled rather simply, as it's a simple respawn, and you lose any non-equipped loot that you were carrying, which can be retrieved by other players, adding a worrying but expected reason for PvP to exist. At the very least, you can also retrieve the items off your friend's body if you'd like to make sure that they can get their stuff back. It works on two levels. It's of course pretty tough to give any general impressions of a game this early on, but looking past a lot of the buggy and rough presentations of this early build, we found ourselves having a bit of fun with this title. Running back to base with our loot was a tense moment, while searching buildings was an interesting and occasionally rewarding experience. There's plenty of things I can see becoming frustrating at full launch, and hopefully this company will be open to player feedback, as well as having some more interesting things in store. As of now, it's got potential, but I don't review potential, so we'll wait to see how this all turns out. This has been an MMO Grinder Sidequest, and it's time I logged out.